If you're queer, Nigerian, and have ever felt unsure about your sexual and reproductive health right needs, come make I give you small tea. This is the podcast for you. So grab your friends or your headphones and listen, because I did bring you people who are going to help you SabiSRH. This is the SabiSRH podcast brought to you by the Initiative for Equal Rights. Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the SabiSRH podcast, where we dive deep into sexual and reproductive health right issues faced by queer people in Nigeria. This podcast is brought to you by the Initiative for Equal Rights. My name is Feifei. I'm your host, and in conversation with me today are two guests who look really good. I want you to introduce yourself. Tell us your name, your pronouns, and what you do.
Hi everyone, my name is Precious Harry. I'm an LGBTQI activist and a filmmaker. My pronouns are she, her.
Welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Delina Wokihiokwe. I'm the medical officer at the Initiative for Equal Rights, and my pronouns are she, her.
All right, thank you so much, Precious and Dr. Delina, for joining me on this episode. What we do is get questions or reflections and topics from people, and then that becomes the basis of the conversation that we have on the podcast. And I have one here, and I'll just read it out, and then we'll talk about it. So this one says, "Hello, Sabi gang. I'm a lesbian living in Nigeria who has always dreamed of having children. Now that I'm ready to start a family, I am feeling unsure about the process. I would like to know, what options are available for LGBTQ plus family planning in Nigeria? What legal and financial challenges might I face? Are there emotional or psychological aspects to consider? What kind of support networks exist for queer families in Nigeria?" And I feel like this is a much needed conversation for us to have. And that is why on this episode, we're going to focus on queer family planning. We'll be looking at the challenges, the legal and financial hurdles. We'll also consider the emotional and psychological aspects to all of this, and not forgetting support networks that are available and what we can do to advocate more for queer people to be able to have kids of their own. One of the things we see on social media every single time a queer person posts maybe a photo of themselves affirming their identity or with their partners is backlash and comments saying, if your parents decided to be gay, how were they going to have you in the first place? Which is actually very laughable. And I'm going to start with you, Dr. Delina. What options are available for queer individuals or couples who are looking to have children and start families?
Actually, thank you very much for that question. For the options we have for queer families, you can do IVF, which is the foundation for surrogacy and other possible family planning options. There's also adoption, and there's also sperm donation or egg donation. So adoption, you could legally go through the paperwork and the whole the process of getting a child with you and your partner don't have any genetic connection to, but I mean, when you start a family, love, nature, nurture, that's your kid. Then from the surrogacy aspects, you could get for partners, either the lady donates her egg and the partner, they get a sperm donor, or both partners could donate their sperm, and then an egg donor is brought, the egg is fertilized. After the whole medical process, it's a lot, then it's implanted back into the carrier. So we have two types of surrogacy. There's gestational surrogacy and there's traditional surrogacy. The traditional surrogacy, your partner or one of the partners could get their sperm and it's inserted into a female. That's going to be the carrier. That's the traditional way. While the gestational way, you could take eggs from the partner, or you could get a sperm from a donor. After inseminating it, you transplant into a carrier. That's for that. Then egg donation, sperm donation. Yeah, your partner could decide to go to an egg bank or a sperm bank, and then get for a gay couple, you could procure an egg from an anonymous donor, inseminate it, have it twins, it's implanted, it's so on. Like, there are multiple options available. So that conception of it's only naturally by a man having sex with a woman, that should be trashed.
And I really like that we've established that point, knowing that there are a lot of other options that queer people and queer couples can consider. One thing is very important. It's how these can affect the emotional and every other thing for these families. I know that you, Precious, have been able to like be in a network of people, quite people and individuals who have children. I'd love you to just let us get into what it's like dealing with all of that emotionally. And
So for me, I've worked with different group of people, and when it comes to queer people and queer people, either the ones that have children or the ones that want to have children, it was never an easy journey. And even though right now we are still trying to build that network where whether you are, you don't want, we want to be child free or you have kids, some of the people in our network also include people who had kids from previous marriages, and then now they are still raising that kid with their partner. Some other people have done IUI, which, they have a kid of their own, just they didn't have to do IVF. Maybe the doctor could explain that. I'm not a doctor. And then some people have had to even adopt. Some people have adopted even family members, their sister's kid. Maybe they have like, oh, this person lost their sister and they have, taken that child to become theirs. I know it looks like it's easy. It's never easy, especially when you are gay. Because now the family is like, how am I letting this small child stay with you? First of all, they look at you and they think there's something wrong with you. And then, you are going to spoil the child or something like that. So it's really something that takes a toll on you as a person. Imagine somebody telling you that you're going to sleep with your sister's child when, you're just trying to raise this child. And so you would break down and cry because it's terrible. And so for other problems that we encounter is if you want to adopt, you talked about adoption. Imagine going to an adoption clinic, or what do they call it, and you say, oh, me and this woman, we want to adopt a child. Nobody will give you their child. In Nigeria here, of course. So it's a big problem for us, really. Some of the things that work in mainstream and for heterosexual people, they don't work for us. So our case is like very unique, very dicey sort of, but so far we're building a network of people who either want to have kids, people who have kids already, or, so that they can mentor the other people who are coming up and would also like to have their own kids. And also they can see, one of the work I do is to create visibility for people to know that this is possible. And so they can think around that even.
thank you so much for sharing that. It was so insightful. I'm going to come back to you, Dr. Delina. I'm also very aware that whether a person chooses IVF or surrogacy, there are other challenges that can have on them, especially emotionally, because I realize that sometimes people try once and try the second time and they keep trying. How does that work?
Okay, so there's also a misinformation out there that once you decide to undergo an IVF cycle, it's going to be successful. No. So there are challenges too that are being faced. The natural process would be to ensure the donors have quality eggs or quality sperm. So quality in the sense is devoid of any form of defects. There's no issue whatsoever with the genetic material, the anatomy of the specimen being brought, and all these influence in the long run the results. So when we have issues with the specimen or the quality of what is being produced, that in turn, and a lot of people try to undergo shortcuts because, IVF is lucrative. So there are a lot of facilities out there, dare I say, that are not well informed or have this training and know well to give, as much as they're also providing medical information, the emotional, the psychological, the financial, everything plays into the results. So it doesn't just start like, oh, I have eggs, let's get someone who has sperm, let's go do this process. So it's a whole process. Then there's the emotional aspect that naturally your body has hormones, which on a normal day, without any external factors or influences, it's already acting up. There are days that you have mood swings, there are days that you don't just feel up to it. Then imagine going through a process whereby to boost the quality of your eggs or your sperm that is going to be extracted for this process to occur, if you decide to give your genetic material, you already know that hormones added to maybe extra hormones that are going to be taken, it's going to be a whole process. Then the financial aspect of it, it's not cheap.
So,
It's not cheap. I mean, you should repeat that plenty times.
Like we just say, oh, do IVF. You have to be financially ready. In a country like Nigeria, that the economy is trash, you're saving up for a process and things just keep getting more and more expensive. And you're coming with the mindset that, okay, whatever material I am bringing, if I am going to be one of the donors, whatever is there already on ground that I'm going to use to produce my child along with what I'm bringing is good. You're assuming you're good. What if you get into the hospital, tests are being carried out, and it's like, oh, by the way, you have this genetic defect that it's not showing in you, we can't see it in you, but it's being carried in your family. And all the eggs or all the sperm you're producing has that effect. It's a downer. You're not going to be able to give that genetic material. So that's already a lot emotionally. And this is aside when you start the process and maybe the IVF cycle fails. Surrogacy, you have situations whereby individuals come, oh, I would carry this child for you, I would give my egg, you can. After that whole process is concluded, there's a bond that starts growing. Although legally, once you're signing that, oh, I'm going to be a surrogate, I'm going to carry this child, that shouldn't be. But it doesn't negate the fact that that actually happens. People decide, oh, they want to change their minds after some time. Or the surrogate you're paying might have been pressed financially and just decided, I want to come through with this process. You pay the money, you do everything, you start the process. The person isn't taking care of themselves because you're monitoring them. Maybe they're in a hospital, maybe you decide to tell them to move into your womb just to support them, feed them, and do the needful. But the individual was just there for the financial aspect. Maybe has gotten a cut and decides, I want to change my mind. All that plays, like all these things are unforeseeable circumstances that affect in the long run the whole process of conception, basically. If you get a bad news, it can take a toll on like your emotional and then your physical. Again, there is the financial because it's not cheap. Even adoption is not cheap. Like, so once you're financially like ready, once you feel emotionally, all these evaluations are going to be done. Once you feel emotionally, I'm ready to go through this process, and then you go to a facility that is well informed and is not just centered at the financial, oh, pay us, let's do this for you. Not just centered at the fact that, okay, street cred, by the time we do this for you, we're going to go out and say this. They're actually interested in you as an individual, your mental health, because the whole process of pregnancy, whether you're carrying it, your partner is carrying it, or a third party is carrying it, it's a lot of emotions that have to be walked through before the child actually comes to be.
Yeah, that's a whole lot to deal with, really and truly. So, Press, I'm going to come to you. The other time, Dr. Delina has just highlighted finance, because money is very about. Yeah, from people that you know personally who have gone through this process, would you say that the financial hurdles for them is different from that of heterosexual couples?
Yeah, I would say that the people that I know that have done this, they were rich. Or let me not say rich, they were average, like they have built themselves to an extent.
A middle class.
Yes. And, you know, I know that it took them a lot of, for some people, they tried more than once. And one other person had to travel out of Nigeria to the UK. That was where she had her baby. So it's, I mean, first of all, the average, Nigeria is, like the doctor already stated, economically, we are very, very down there. And then add being queer to that, as a queer person, as an LGBTQI plus person, you will find out that you can be working and somebody finds out about your sexuality and they will sack you because of that. So you don't even have money, or your parents find out your sexuality and they are cutting you off. Someone was running their family business and they cut them off from like managing the hotel. So imagine if you were planning to raise a child or start the process, what then happens? And then let's say you even have a child. What then happens now? You are jobless, you are ostracized from your family, you don't have any support. So when it comes to generally, because a person can have a child now and their mother would totally take care of the child because, I mean, my child, my pikin born now, what thing I go do, I go take care of them. But if you are queer, No, nobody's doing that for you. Oh, Shebi, we told you should go and get married. You choose to follow a woman. Now you don't have job. Who take care of this your child that again might be seen as an abomination? How are you even bringing this child to life? Imagine two men and you carry one child and start giving stories. So it's really technical. When it comes to money, it's a big deal in our community because we suffer a lot of issues that deprive us of economical freedom.
All right. Finance is not the only thing to worry about. There's some certain legality to this, yeah? Because I remember the other time Dr. Delina had mentioned people changing their minds midway when they decide to be surrogates, for instance. Abortion laws, like you have mentioned. I just want you to just share some light into the legalities of things that people have to deal with, especially queer people, when it comes to family planning of this sort.
Okay, so for me, I'm not a lawyer, but one of the things I've noticed when people deal with queer people is that there are no legalities, in the sense that whatever you sign with them are almost non-binding. If they know about your sexuality, it is what they put in the forefront to threaten you. So people can say, oh, we signed this, I will go and tell the police that you people are a gay couple, and then it becomes a problem. So what happens most times is that people come to those kind of agreement as straight people. They come and say, I want a child. They don't, their partner might even sit in the room, but that will be like, oh, this is my brother or this is my sister. We're having this conversation. She's just my friend, so that you can deal with them one-on-one. That's when it's like the law can stand. And that's when it's like the person might be able to uphold and respect some of the agreements that you have. Because once your sexuality is out there and it becomes a question of you are trying to have a child in a country that criminalizes same-sex marriage, we're still, we have even in the SSNPA that there should be no amorous display of affection between people of the same sex, which, again, are you not going to hug your sister or brother? But let's not go into all of that, because before the activist in me comes up. But then, these are some of the problems that we face, where you cannot really do what you want to do fully because of that. Now, my friend had a child. She went there as a straight woman. I think she took her brother or cousin or something, like she went there as, oh, this is the person I'm with. And then another friend said, how did you do this? We would like to do. This friend has been with their partner for 4 or 5 years. And they said, oh, we'd like to do this. And she said, oh, I will give you the number of the doctor. But when you get there, don't say you are partners. Say that this person is my sister or this person is my friend. Don't bring up your partnership. Don't bring up your relationship. So imagine if I come to see a doctor and my sister is there. Doctor, what would you do? You probably tell my sister to step outside. Sure. So you see that you will not attend to us. It's either I'm making all the decisions and my partner will probably be getting second-hand information, which is not the way it's supposed to be. If we were a husband and wife, the doctor will attend to us together. Sure. But now you send my partner out, I have to it's a whole lot. So again, these are some of the things I know about how legal binding it can be, even for the doctors. Even when we want to access care from medical practitioners, we assess it as either single entities or somebody that has a husband somewhere or somebody that has a boyfriend somewhere, but then you might not get the exact care that you need because you are already lying in your presentation. So yeah,
because at the end of the day, we all need tailored care, and our experiences should be able to determine the sort of care that we get at the end of the day. Yep. The legalities and the punitive laws that we have even make it so harder for queer people, and it's just a very sad experience here. Yeah. But then I like to think that there would be maybe resources or hospitals or places where queer people can be able to find affirming family planning options. Is it something that is possible? Okay,
so in general, I believe every change or every step that should be taken should start from an individual, and an individual such as myself. As a doctor, when you take your oath, your job is to provide healthcare to every and anybody, regardless of your sexual orientation, regardless of your gender identity. If you come in bleeding or if you come in with an emergency, I'm not going to have to be focused on the nitty-gritty of your sexual orientation. It's my job to, and that's the oath we take. So when you come into the legal aspects too, with Nigeria that criminalizes a lot of things, even when you have a doctor that is open-minded or a doctor that is willing to help legally, you can't do
like they
more
heard at
than
a time.
exactly. You can't do more than you're supposed to do, because if at all in the future, and a lot of times you see cases like this, you see a medical or a healthcare professional trying to, okay, you know what? It doesn't even have to be a sexual case or between two partners. It's like, oh, you came in with an injury and I'm like, oh, let me help you with this injury. Let me get medications from the pharmacist or something and just help you. And then in a split second, the person's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. After the care is rendered, the person's attitude switches up. It's like, oh yeah, it's not because of this, all those kind of situations. So people are wary of helping or going the extra mile for a patient. I don't know you personally, you just walked into my clinic, so I can't even do or go out of my way to help you because I don't know how it's going to backfire. Not to talk of when it involves legal things like situations like this. So I just encourage doctors, you're going to have to provide healthcare and you're going to have to help whoever is seated in your chair, regardless of their identity or their orientation. And the major thing is for you to come to a well-conclusive solution where you can provide care for the person. They shouldn't be hiding information from you. You can't come in and tell me, okay, you're a transgender person and maybe you're coming in with a symptom like this. And because of, Nigeria already criminalizes it, you don't give me that information. And I'm running a bunch of tests doing this and that, when just that singular information you could have provided, it would have cut the stress and it even saves like financial expenses for you too. So I feel in general, there should be an environment that starts with education, starts with giving proper information, whereby anyone that sits in your chair is an individual. This is a safe space. There's confidentiality as well, where they say doctor-patient confidentiality, although it's not available in some general hospitals and all that, where you have like 3 or 4 people, everyone is like, oh, so patients come in, this one, you that has this disease, when you're coming, like it's Nigeria. I mean, a lot of things like that happen.
All the HIV people.
Exactly. It's like those kind of segregation. So I believe there are clinics like Tears, that's the Initiative for Equal Rights. I'm the medical doctor there. And I know fully well that when you come in, I attend to you as an individual. Just like you earlier mentioned, you mentioned a sister coming in and because legally I'm not supposed to allow someone else sitting on a consultation in case there's sensitive information you would not like to be divulged. But in a situation whereby you tell me, please, I as the individual receiving the care has given permission, like there's no problem, let's have this person here. I'm obliged to, I will tell you, come in, you can sit in as long as it's okay with you. Then that consultation can be done. So at Tears, we offer services like that. If you want to come in counseling with your partner, because even in a general hospital, or you can come in for counseling with your straight partner. But when they say, oh, come in for counseling, bring your partner, and you surprise the doctor. And I mean, our generation of doctors, maybe the younger people, maybe a few older people are being more open-minded and more honest to themselves. But in a situation whereby you meet a very elderly person that is close-minded, that doesn't, and then you're like, oh, come in with your partner, then you come in with someone of the same sex and it's like, what is this?
What's going on here?
Thank you. So that throws the person off, and then they start withdrawing their services, which legally is not supposed to happen.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I am going to come to you, Presh. Support networks are very, very important. And I like the fact that you are in a circle of that support network. And I just want to find out, how does having support networks impact this journey towards queer parenthood?
Okay, so I always tell people that build your tribe, right? Have your people, and not everybody can be your people. I mean, we have to know that I'm queer and you're queer does not mean our values and our lifestyle align. But then you don't want to be in a place where you're uncomfortable, where you don't feel accepted or loved. So one of the things I do, I create spaces, safe spaces for a lot of people. I don't care how much you have or who you are or whether you are educated or not. You're probably not wearing a body spray. I will still try to manage. But please, always wear your car spray. Again, so I create those spaces so that people can come together and rely on one another, especially LBQ women, people who are just like me. I have 2 kids, by the way. So I know what it takes and what it means to go through all of that process. Luckily for me, my mom was alive. She took care of me. But then there are people whose mom are not even going to allow them to come close to the door, which is why we're building that network. We're gathering together in small clusters and we're having conversation. There is one of our person who has a clinic where that clinic is in Ogun State. You could go there and also access the IVF care, all of that. Like, you want to have a child with your partner, they can guide you through that kind of, thing. And then we also provide support in the sense that if you have a child and you have a need, like, okay, I just had a child who's going to take care of me, you probably would get 1 or 2 people who can come, either bait your child, take care of you, stay around. But most importantly, it's never easy to deal with a total stranger. It's always good because if I don't know you from anywhere, maybe if you call me, I will come. If somebody tells me, hello, this person had a baby or there's nobody taking care of her, I most likely will be like, where are they? Can you give them my number? Can I see them? But you might not even be comfortable with a stranger. So which is why I'm like, build your own network so that when that time comes and you need to have a kid, you still have people on your side who you can call to say, I cannot walk today. Can you come, be with my baby? Can you come do stuff for me? And you are comfortable with them in your house. But so far, we're still, working on all of that and holding spaces for each other. Yeah.
I'm just going to say that when next you want to go for an Omugo, you should call me. I hear that maternity goodies that go back home with you when it's time to leave.
I pray.
There's still a lot of work to be done.
Yes.
You had mentioned the other time about how doctors have to reorient themselves and remind themselves of the oath that they have taken to provide services for people without discrimination. Are there other actionable steps you think that we can take?
Well, I think for individuals as well, because everything is a two-way street. When you're coming into an office to see someone, you don't just program your mind like this is the information or this is the reaction I want this person to have so that I remain at my best. You also have to be open-minded and realize that not everyone has that information. Not everyone has adjusted to the effects of what that information can bring about, basically. So what I'm saying is, if you're a queer person going to seek help or seek any services in a professional facility, like a hospital, a clinic, or anything, you also have to remind yourself that whoever I see when I open that door might not personally even be a nice person, might not be someone that is open to LGBTQI plus anything at all, might not be someone that would even, regardless of the oath they took, wants to even provide their services, not because of you, not because of themselves, but for whatever reason whatsoever. So when you go there, you keep an open mind. When you're having conversations with the doctor, it's your responsibility to remain polite and then deliver the information in the sense that this is who I am, this is my truth, because this is what I'm seeking. If I don't accept what I am or who I am, I'm not going to be able to make you accept me or provide those services. In the sense that if I'm giving an example, if I'm a lesbian that goes into an office and says, oh, hi, I want to access this service, that information that I give saying I'm a lesbian is because I already want you to be prepared. I know fully well that if the information is unnecessary to be divulged, I wouldn't come in for a court and say, oh, I'm a lesbian, treat my leg. I'm just saying, please, no. I say like, it would be more like, okay, I want to access this service. Mm-hmm. So because of that service I'm trying to access, basically, you have to know my sexuality. So how do I go about this? And then it prepares the person to then know what response you're going to give and know, okay, maybe I don't think I'll be able to handle this. I can refer you to someone that could do this. Or I don't think I can handle this at all. Get out from my office, which is wrong. So that's why I'm talking of every healthcare professional reorienting themselves. There are lots of things you have to unlearn. In medical school, we are not taught, we are taught just like, I had someone say the other time, biology, oh, this is what a woman looks like, this is what a man looks like. Reproduction, a man has sex with a woman, you have a child, go home, that's the end. There are a lot of things that go on in the works, even for heterosexual couples. It's not enough, like the information being provided is not enough. So when you walk into an office and like, oh, I want to have a child or this, the person, like you're talking to the doctor might be like, you're not teaching me this in medical school. How can I help you? Or what do you want? There's no, okay, where's your husband? Okay, so all these things, like, there's a lot of information, and apart from putting out information, some good doctors are those, like everyone, like a good doctor is a good doctor. There are elderly people that have more information in regards to this, but you have to, I don't know if there's going to be a way to create workshops whereby you go to the hospitals and interact with people of maybe older generation that are not privy to see things on social media, and then from there, with their compassion, you could learn and give them that information.
Thank you so much. One thing that has really helped a lot of people in advancing so many causes that are dear to their heart is advocacy. Is it something we can delve into when it comes to these conversations around queer family planning?
Yeah, I think advocacy is key. I mean, that is the number one thing. I told you I make films and I've met a lot of people. In the course of my journey, shooting, whether it is sexual and reproductive health rights documentary or intersex documentary, I found out that there's so much to learn. There are so many people that do not know anything. And take an intersex person, for instance, goes into a hospital and somebody is like, waiting be this, then they call the other doctor. You look, what's happening here? And then call. So you were there, 4 or 5 people. You've not even said a word, but you have like a boil, and 5 people have come to look at what is not. Why are 5 people looking at a boil? 5 people are coming to look at your nakedness and go out. And the whole world is, people are running up and down. They are saying there's a person there, there's a creature there, there's somebody who is different there. So I feel like there is huge need for advocacy, which is why I tell stories, most importantly. But again, some of the recommendations I've gotten in the course of my work is to do advocacy for medical professionals. It is long overdue. I mean, gather them. If we have to spend money anywhere, can we do trainings for medical personnel? Can we bring them together, go to them however we can? I know we've been doing some work around with the Nigerian police. We've been doing some work, with even lawyers and legal aid, but it seemed like the medical professionals are people that we don't want to touch or we don't think about. It's very important to do that. It's very important to do a lot of advocacy with religious leaders, because they will be the ones to tell you to pray. Even for heterosexual couple, they tell them to continue to pray, even when you medically you have solution to your problem. So there's need for advocacy. There is need for training, teaching, maybe making more films. People should give us money. But yeah, there is a big need for, whether it is material, and the curriculum need to be trashed and changed. How do doctors go through school and not know anything about intersex rights, intersex bodies? They only know male and female, and there are people there who exist and are created by God, and you are like, these people, there is no need to learn about them. And so there are trans people. There are many different demographic of people that we should start to educate these people about. And I think it's one of the most important things that we should look at for, and work with. So yeah, thank you.
I'm so glad that the both of you are here to have this conversation with me today. One of the most important things that I've drawn out of this is that family does not necessarily have a structure. Like you said, love, nature, and nurture. Yeah, I'm glad I got that correctly. And that is what we should be looking out for. There are resources available. It gets emotionally draining. By the end of the day, the joys. I remember when my nephew was born, seeing him was so very joyful. And then for every queer person who wants to have that experience, it should not be something that should be taken away from them. Remember that you can find more resources by visiting www.initiativeforequalrights.org. And also follow TS across all of their social media handles at TS Nigeria. Thank you so much, Precious, and thank you so much, Dr. Delina.
Thank you.
See you on the next
so
episode.
much.